7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey there guys, so I'm back with a new review of episode 4 of Dino Fury New Recruits, and I gotta say, so far this is my favourite episode. This was just such a phenomenal introduction to the Green and Black Ranger. Now the episode starts off with Void Knight creating BoomTower, and I gotta say, BoomTower is such a cool design, honestly. And I was seeing the action figures of him on the Toys website, and it doesn't give him any justice because he's got such a nice design with the whole castles, that's like the shoulder pads. But also Mucus discovers a monster that's been unhatched called Dragnarok, and he's a pretty nice design, by the way. I love the fact that it's not just a standing up, he's kind of tilted forward like a proper dragon would be. And they go off and trying to take this orb from the museum that allows BoomTower to become more powerful. I don't know why. So in this episode, Zato applies a journalist job, a reporter job at BuzzBlast. And I love the fact that I want to know how the system works. Does he need to give in a CV? I mean, does he kind of just go in and say, oh, can I go for the job? Okay, we'll give you a trial. I want to know about that because for me, I mean, it's impossible. I have no skills or experience. It would be a miracle if I got a reporter job. But also we got introduced to the Black Ranger in this episode, Levi, who is a musician, who plays a harmonica. And it's so funny how he plays a harmonica outside the interview room, because if I did that, I would probably say go get lost. But in this episode, we get introduced to the Green and Black Ranger, and there's two approaches to this. I mean, we could do something like what Turbo did. They introduced the characters a few episodes before, and then they become Rangers, or they could just take a gamble, introduce a character, and he or she becomes the Ranger by the end of the episode. And yeah, this is the best way to do it, well, to me at least. And I think they did a really great job with it. So Levi wants the job so he can save money to buy a keytar, which is like a keyboard guitar. But they have these assignments, and if they get it right, they get the job. So Levi has to go to the museum to do an interview about this mystical orb. And Zato has to go to this, interview this athlete who's like one of the best, Izzy, who will become the Green Ranger. And we get introduced to Izzy, and yeah, I really like her straight away for some reason. I think she's not just a sports person, she actually has kind of a personality. And there's this one scene when Zato gives her a tip to throw a javelin or a spear, whatever you call it, and yeah, she gets it right, and yeah, she would be happy to do an interview. Later on, the museum gets attacked by BoomTower, Dragnarok, and Mucus. And yeah, the Rangers come to save the day, and we get to see the battle armor in action, which is really cool because I really like that battle armor so much. We've seen it in Megazord battles so far, but we've actually get to see it like regular size, which is cool. And so Levi runs off with the orb and takes his dad's car, Warden Garcia. I just want to give a quick shout out to the voice actor of BoomTower, Mark Mitchison, who has done voices before in Power Rangers ever since in RPM, most notably from RPM General Shifter. And it's not just like, I want to shout around, it's kind of not that grouchy sound, it's kind of like a very strategic sound, a very mature sound, a very like, this guy is not messing around, and I like that. I love how throughout the episode no one actually gives a shit about Dragnarok's name. They're like, Dragon Guy, whatever your name is, do something. And he's like, it's Dragnarok. Nobody cares. That was just one of my favourite jokes of the episode. So we learn that Levi is the stepbrother to Izzy, and Izzy's the stepdaughter to Warden Garcia. And yeah, it's great, and we've seen siblings before many times in Power Rangers, but not step siblings. So I really like to see that dynamic come to life. I mean, I hope we get to explore that in future episodes. But no, Izzy knows where Levi is because his dad doesn't approve his music. So he has this like hiding place where he can play his harmonica. So we do get some comedic scenes with Jane and Jayborg. And the first time, yeah, okay, I got to admit, it was kind of funny. But the second time they did it, it just felt like I didn't need it. I think they can only do it once in every episode. Do it more times, it kind of gets a bit irritating. But yeah, Levi gets found out by Dragnarok and BoomTower, but luckily the Rangers arrive, but they're kind of getting overwhelmed. And this is the moment where like Levi smashes the orb, and they find these Izzy and Levi has these Ranger keys. And this is amazing to see. This is one of the best introductions of Morphing in Power Rangers ever. The music is top notch. I gotta say the music, and this is done by Bert Salon. I mean, he's the new composer to Power Rangers now for this series, and he is just incredible. I loved this is some of the best music I've heard in Power Rangers in years, probably ever since back in probably maybe Wild Force. But honestly, okay, and the music when they turn into the Rangers goes like, ha, 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 ha. It actually has like a choir beat to it, and that was awesome. But yeah, it's really top notch. As soon as Javi and Izzy become Rangers, Izzy just rips off her skirt like she doesn't need it. She's not really into skirts. And I really like that because I know there's been a lot of controversy about that. Oh, is she going to have the skirt or is she not? Yeah, she rips off because it's not for her beak. And I can understand how that works with the Sentai footage when they're going to adapt. Because in Rusoja, the actual Green Ranger is a man. But I liked how they worked around that. And I don't know if like every time she morphs she has the skirt and she just has to rip it off, or maybe because she does it now and it doesn't come back. I want to know what happens about that because I think it's going to come back in every time she morphs. And I like that because I don't think every female ranger has a skirt. We've seen it done so many times, not just because, I mean, of course they took the shortcut because some of the previous Power Ranger seasons and their Sentai counterpart, the male ranger to the female ranger doesn't have a skirt, but I like that she doesn't need it, and I like how they actually made a skirt to start off with. But yeah, we get some really cool fight scenes, some really great fight choreography. Yeah, this is another amazing because it's got I can't remember his name, and I will mention it next week. But it's the same fight choreographer from the Disney era, and which is great, and you could really show it's really some creative stuff. And I love the fact that Izzy uses her javelin to fight off the monsters, and she hardly uses her sword. And there's some really great moments. And of course we get a Megazord battle, and I gotta say so far this is the best Megazord battle yet. I mean, it just goes to show what they can do with the Megazord battles these days, especially in what they can do with the Sentai, because I love the fact the articulation of the Megazord, it's not just like slow walking, it can actually run and do some flips and stuff and like go around it, which is really cool. And the cockpit, finally seeing the cockpit with all 5 Rangers, even though Green and Black probably don't have to do anything because their swords are not there. It's cool, and I think looking on that, I think it's one of the best cockpits now. I thought it looked so familiar for what they did with the Neo Saban stuff, but like looking on it now, I can understand why they changed it because the Rusoja one was very bleak and very bland. So back at the base, the Rangers introduce themselves. We get to see Solon, who introduced herself as well. And straight away, Izzy and Javi are kind of like, when do we get our swords? And Sato's like, what's with people with swords? Why do they have such a fondness to them? It would be so funny, even though it's not going to happen because I've seen their swords. It'd be so funny if their sword was just like a carrier sword like Tommy had in Dino Thunder. Like it's just a carrier sword, it doesn't do anything. It'd be so funny if they actually something like that. They'd be so disappointed. But yeah, later on at the very end, back at Buzz Blast, Javi gets a job, not just because he got a report right, just because of his bravery, and I just didn't understand it, because, you know, the Sato actually did his job. He actually got the report, he got an interview, which I don't really like. I wish they could have gave both of the jobs to them. I don't understand how they got the jobs. I mean, do they actually have any skills or experience? Is there like an application form to it, or did they just go, hey, or maybe it's like an apprenticeship thing? But there's this joke at the end, like Jane says to Javi, now your job is to find the best burger in the city. And at the very end, Amelia's like, my job was very different. Mine was to find the best taco in the city. And Ollie's just like, oh, for fuck's sake, what fucking idiots. That was just funny. Overall, New Recruits is just such a great fun episode that has a really nice introduction to Javi and Izzy and how they become Rangers, but we really got to know their characters. And this is my favourite episode so far in the series. I mean, this is definitely a 4.5 out of 5. If I had to rank all the episodes so far, it would be episode 4, then episode 2, then episode 1, then episode 3. But there's so much potential storylines just from this one episode. For one, I want to know how Izzy's parentage. I mean, there's a reason why they're doing the step siblings routes this time. I think there's going to be some great dynamic with that. For one, I think we're going to get a collaboration episode about Warden Garcia and his son Javi about his music and why he disproves it. this is a long shot, but you know, get it long shot with the javelin. So basically, you know, the fight scene where she hardly uses her own sword and uses her javelin. I think we're going to get that later on when she hardly uses her sword, but the Rangers are like, you have to use your sword, that's your main power. But she disproves it because that's not her style. And also, I don't know whether we're going to get this in at the end of this series or the next series. Yari is going to get a keytar, which is, okay, that'd be nice. I hope it pays off. But yeah, I mean, this is just such a great episode. I hope it keeps getting better in this series. But I can't wait to see more out of these Rangers, and I love BoomTower. I just love BoomTower. But yeah, overall, this is a brilliant episode.